What's going on, y'all? So we are back again for another episode review. The final episode review of Shots Fired season, the finale, Last Dance. Ain't that about a bitch? Everybody is all up in arms. The whole police department, the sheriff, the chief, all that. They're up in arms about Breland and him being murdered in front of his house. And, so the course of action, the most logical and reasonable course of action in this white police department thing, given that we got this high, case about racism, 2 cases about racism going on, most logical thing is to what? Go to the houses where the poor black folks are, where Joey Campbell is from, and after we just found out that he played a role in all of this shit, go there and bust down all the doors and go wake everybody up out there sleeping stuff, and manhandle everybody, and every black man or person is a goddamn suspect now because Breland last was seen over there at the houses, and they was like, well, damn, somebody probably followed him. I'm sitting here like, so 9 out of 10, I would not be surprised if it was a cop who shot Breland, or it could have been another white person who shot Breland. I mean, they are capable of doing some fucked up shit. Look at what Arlington Cox did. So it was just really irritating me. And I appreciate the fact that Brooks went over there to Shamika Campbell's home and was like, look, this is the shit that's going on. Keep your doors closed and you'll be cool, all right? I got you. I was like, stand up for the lady. Okay, protects her a little bit, So back at Breland's home, Ash and Preston was over there with the chief, and they're trying to talk to the family about whether or not you heard something was going on. And then the daughter came out and said, well, before all this shit happened, he told me that he was there the night that Joey got killed. He know who killed the dude, and he was blackmailing somebody, and he felt like people was against him or whatever. He was protecting people. And see, all of that right there is main motive for Breland to keep his motherfucking mouth closed. Because I'm pretty sure, I would not be surprised if it was the chief himself who had Breland shot. All right? Because you don't want the secrets of the police station to get out. And Breland would have got on that stand and testified because he was through fucking with y'all, all right? Because y'all was playing him and using him like a scapegoat and not standing up to the end of the bargain with him. They're gonna get ready for the grand jury, and the female agent that they brought in, the secondary one, she telling Preston, you gotta look at the way that you present this case to the jury, whether it's about is it about racism or whatever. You can't sell a jury on racism. I said, bitch, it is about racism. He was like, it is about racism, okay? I cannot not act as if it's not about that when it really is, okay? We have Ash going over there to the guy that they brought in trying to say that they saw the fake witness, okay? They brought him in. I said, bitch, look who the fuck that is. I couldn't tell when he first came in, but as soon as he started really talking, all I kept hearing was, it's only $200. You remember that line on ATL when Big Boy beat his ass? That was Big Boy's cousin when he was taking that $200. So you better not tell my mama. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Cause we gets paid. I was like, all right, he still looks 16. He still looks 16. And Ash basically told him, because Preston and Ash was talking about how they need a witness. Since they don't have a main witness, which was Breland, to get up and testify, shit is about to start falling apart. And he had to tell her, what the fuck was you at? Because, when I was calling you, they were telling us that we was on the main, back on top. She was like, I just had to go clear my head. I was like, girl, okay. And he said, all right, whatever, because she said, if you don't come up here testify the truth about why you was there, that you was going down, doing a favor, whatever, for some crooked cops, you'll take your ass right back to jail. So that shit happened. Bex, he's feeling a type of way that, everybody's in this hearing without him. And while he's there talking to his lawyer and his S-curls, I said, look at that S-curl, boo. Alicia Carr is in the store and she's looking in the aisle of some water, whatever, and she see this little black baby. He's playing with her, throwing his toys, and running, playing hide and seek and all that shit. She go around the aisle to go give the toy back to the mom, and it's Beck's wife. And Bex recognizes who she is, but she don't know who the Beck's wife is. And she was like, they're precious. It'll get better, encouraging her and all that stuff. Let me tell you something. You can tell how tired Beck's wife is by looking at her wig, okay? Her wig was about to slap for her. She is tired of this bullshit, okay? It was matted. It was all types of fucked up. And that just got, now I appreciate it because, bitch, they was just showing us she tired. She is tired. Not only do I got to deal with all these paparazzi in front of my goddamn house, all this slander against my family, bitch, these goddamn kids, okay? Look at these two little rugrats, okay? I ain't got no goddamn control. I'm losing my goddamn mind. About to lose my motherfucking wig. I said, girl, move it back just a little bit. So the governor meets up with Platt, who is the chief or whatever, and told him, I don't like the way that you've been running this program. You fucked it up, and therefore your services are no longer needed. He said, bitch, yes they are, and we'll see about that. Let's go see what Arlington has to say. I said, Arlington got all this goddamn power. Oh, I got spinach on my tongue. Let me swallow that. That was rude. But anyway, I'm just sitting here like, goddamn, the governor ain't got no power, so this rich white man got the power. You gonna just bypass what she said and just walk the fuck out, and she let him. Then we get to Brooks is on the stand at the hearing testifying about the conditions and stuff with Bex and how, maybe, yeah, he felt a little isolated because he was the only black person, but not necessarily because he was the only black person on the force, was because he was being called a sellout. All right, you don't see nobody else calling their people a sellout. You see black folks calling each other sellouts. And I said, damn, look at this grease, this spray. I only got my hair done this morning, and yeah, still there. Ain't that about a bitch? But anyway, at least my shit look clean now. But I was just like, wow. And I had to think about it. And I said, you know what? We are, as a people, as a community, we are quick to call someone within our own, race, our own background, a sellout when they don't agree with the same opinion or views that we do. And they're not hurting anybody. They just don't want to follow the same path. They don't want to be, some may call it bandwagoners, or they want to think outside the box, and we call them a sellout and things of that such, and I was like, yeah, that happens, especially a lot on social media with a lot of the stuff that's been going on. When we get social activism and these causes that comes up, people want to call them sellout if you're not on the right train, what they perceive the right train or whatever. But moving on from that, Ash finds out that, Preston finds out that Lyndon, that's his name, the drug dealer, whatever, he conveniently gets locked up for jail, saying that he was selling drugs out that garage, and that Ash was pressuring a freaking confession out of him. So now they really trying to get him because they need him as a witness, and everybody's like, it's so fucking convenient. And I'm sitting here like, it's like every time they take a step forward, the cops come in and make them take, 2 steps back, push them 2 steps back and all that shit. Then a video come out of Bex when he said that, finally got this badge and I can finally go kill these crackers. That was the initial video that they put out to make it seem as if Bex was really a racist, okay? And even Preston had to backtrack what he was thinking about, saying maybe race should not have been the main focal point, okay? That's what we said at the beginning. Maybe your girl was right. Race should not have been a focal point, because next thing you know, they go down there and see the reporter. Kelly all fucked up in the hospital, and kind of find out somebody else done wrote the whole fucking tape, okay? And on that tape, Beck said, no, I'm just playing, but I'm so happy to be out here to serve the community and all this stuff. You could tell he wasn't trying to do that shit on purpose. He was just being jokes. And we've made jokes about shit like that sometimes. Not probably those words or whatever, but we done made some jokes or whatever that we know we're joking, okay? We don't really feel that way. It's just fucking jokes, and we found the humor in it. We don't want to be serious all the time. And, they're getting upset because they was like, you conveniently get this tape and you conveniently put this most fucked up part out there that's gonna grab some stuff. You know what that's called in the Twitter world and their blogosphere and all that stuff? Clickbait. Okay, that's all it was. It wasn't her fault. It was her editor's fault. Okay, and that's exactly what we see on social media. Go look at these goddamn headlines or whatever about these blogs and news reports, whatever. They'll have the title be so fucked up and so juicy to make you want to click on it, and that ain't even what the damn shit is going on in the goddamn article. Okay, clickbait. And after they do all that, child Preston, his Beck's lawyer out there trying to get them charges dismissed and get the DOJ out for Beck's and all that shit because of that video. Baby Preston went up into that court and was talking to them jurors and basically was telling them, you know, I was thinking that this case was about race, but then again, we have to take race out of it, okay? All this stuff that we see down here in Gay Station, this shit been going on for years all over the country, all over the world, all right? We need to take our mind away from that and not think so black and white. We got to remove that. Just think about the justice, bitch, the humanity of it all, okay? Because will we still be doing the same thing if it was a white cop who did that to somebody like a Trayvon Martin? I said, you better give me a speech, boo. And he was feeling it because I said, baby, don't cry. Don't cry. Hold it up. Hold it up. There you go. Humanity. He ended it right there. I said, tens across the board, boo. You got my vote. But no, in the process of him doing that to the jurors, trying to get the jurors not to think that way, take that out of it, because he said the jurors will most likely go for the victim. And if it was another way, they'll go for the shooter. You know what I'm saying? And so, in the process of him giving his speech, we see the playback of what actually happened with Bex and Jesse. Bex is coming out, getting his little soda, his drink, as y'all call it. We call it pop out here in Chicago. And he's about to get into his car, and he just sees Jesse drive past. No reason, he just automatically just jumps to his car and gets in and goes and turns the sirens on and pull him over. From what I saw, Jesse didn't do nothing wrong, okay? This is when he pulls him over. Jesse started recording himself. He gets out the car. He goes over there. What are you doing here? And you could tell that race was playing a factor in this because he kept saying, you don't look right. Basically, you a white boy up in this black neighborhood. What are you doing here? Okay? There was no real reason from my sin for him to pull him over. Okay? And then when he told him to give me your license and registration, I didn't like the fact that Jesse was like, came get some chicken. Some fried chicken. The way he said it had a little racial undertone to me. Okay? And then when he gave him the license and registration, he put it on him and let it slide to the floor. That what made Bex really pissed off and opened up his door. Now Jesse's scared and all this shit because he telling him to get out the door, out the car. And then once he finally get him out the car, Jesse didn't reach for that gun like he claimed that Jesse did. Jesse was trying to stop him from pushing on him and pulling him, so he nudged him a little bit. But it still wasn't enough to warrant him to take out his gun and to shoot him all those times. That boy got pulled over for no fucking reason. He shouldn't have got pulled over at all. And them drugs was implanted on him to, make it look like something more than what it was, to try to clear the department and all of them. It's all crooked. I said, ain't this about a bitch? Bex, you're guilty. You're guilty for doing this shit. Okay? And it's no different. It's no different than what we see all the time out here in our day right now with black men and black people in general just getting pulled over for what? Because we look different in this area, or they got to fill the quota, or, I felt threatened like the Betty Shelby bitch, okay? You felt threatened that this man who had his hands up in the air because his car stalled in the street was going to do something to you, so you fucking shot him. Fuck you, bitch. So, Preston and Ash is at the restaurant, the old man, they rebuild it and all that. And I was talking about the jury selection and them being, deliberating. Then all of a sudden he gets a phone call saying that they got an indictment. Well, they got they're back, okay? They ready to give their verdict. And so we see Bex at his house, and he's with his wife. Next thing you know, we hear a car pull up, and it's Brooks. Brooks was sent there to arrest him because he was found guilty enough to indict him and arrest him for the murder of Jesse And of course, all them people was outside, the cameras and, the neighbors and people that probably don't even live there protesting across the street, killer cop and all that stuff and put them away. And, as you see the crowd, you see a mixture of white and black people, so but mostly white. But you see a little specks of black here and there that's also feeling the same way. And you saw Alicia Carr, she's standing there, and then one of the reporters said, "How do you feel about this?" And she just looks and she just walks away. Okay, back at the hotel, Ash and Preston is all up in the bed together and shit. I said, "What y'all finna do, round two?" Okay, y'all finna let us see round two? But no, she was like, because if you see from the very beginning of the episode, Preston been kind of hinting that, girl, you got some shit you want to tell me after the shit that happened with Breland. Breland all of a sudden popped up there after you said that you gotta go because you felt that it was Breland who stopped you from getting your daughter when it really wasn't at this time. You got something to tell me? She said, "What you want, bitch? What you want? At least I could just go ahead and ask the bitch. Well, I ain't got to keep on hitting around. What you want to say?" Okay? She said, "You know what? Fuck this shit. But this one gonna never work, okay? We should never did this shit." And I said, "Oh, damn." All right? And Preston was like, "What you talking about? I don't know." I said, "Boy, stop playing. You know you want to ask that she had something to do with some of this shit, okay? Just go ahead and ask her. Y'all can't start this relationship off like this, okay? This is how you know you shouldn't have fucked with each other. Shouldn't have fucked with each other. Shouldn't have mixed personal with the business." So Shamika gives her testimony about that night, basically saying that Joey had met some girl that he liked and he was going over to her house to meet the parents. And, she said, I guess everything was going well because the parents really did want to meet him. And he had a feeling that the mama really liked him, but the daddy was kind of, And so he was supposed to be home at a certain time and he didn't come home. And that's when the cops come to the door talking about your son been shot. Okay. So outside the hearing, before that, the other prosecutor lady, she was telling them, you should go ahead and wrap up and rest your case. And Preston was like, "No, I just want to get Arlen on the stand first, then we'll wrap." And I don't know if that kind of hurt or hindered him, helped him, because as a result, Arlen came to that courthouse. He looked Shamika dead in her eyes. I swear to God, it took all the strength. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I would have knocked his ass out. But he got up on that stand talking about some, Joey was unstable. I was frightened. And it was like, wait a minute. So you the one that was frightened, but he's the one that's saying, call my moms and all this stuff. But you're the one that's frightened. He was like, well, we both was frightened. We both were unstable, and Breland wasn't doing nothing but escalating the whole situation, making him more frightened, making him more violent. And he didn't, which made him kick me on my knee. And so therefore I reached for my gun and my taser, and I accidentally pulled out the gun and killed him. That's what it was, okay? He literally told you that he was guilty. He put a fucking press conference up there to say that he was guilty, right? He did all of that shit, got on that stand and said that he was guilty. But what ended up happening, before they get the verdict or whatever outside the courthouse, Breland's lawyer comes up to Preston and was like, Breland was sitting on some sensitive information. He didn't say what it was. He just said it was in a storage house probably. And we don't know which one it is or where it is or whatever. All he knows is that he just kept on putting storage down in the calendar twice. So maybe we'll see that shit. And the whole thing, while Arlen was up there giving his testimony, we see the playback of what really happened to Joey. Breland pulled him over. He was just walking minding his business. He pulled up on him. And, he was like, "What you doing out at this time of night or whatever? What you doing?" He was like, "I don't sell no more. I don't do that no more." Also, you all of a sudden a little angel and you done turned over a new leaf. Him and Durkins, they pin him up against the gate. We see little Corey in the background watching all of this stuff. And we see Karina. Is her name Karina? Kiana, whatever the fuck. KK. We see her, Biggie's wife, get out the car. Well, she was in the car and she's seeing all this stuff. Towards the end, she get out the car and run, and Corey runs too after she saw what exactly went down. They subdued him. He was not resisting at anything. He did not charge at them. He did not do anything to them to cause them to put their hands on him. Okay, he wasn't fighting them or nothing until they put him down on that floor, and they was pressing him down by his chest and his arm. Two grown-ass men on this boy, okay? Next thing you know, Arlington comes, I keep calling him Arlington. Arlen comes out of his car and goes over there to him, and then he was like, you know what, you could cuff him now. He gets down there trying to cuff him or whatever, and next thing you know, out of a reflex or whatever, that's what it looked to me, Joey Foot kicked him, and it just so happened to land on Arlen's knee. He falls back. Arlen gets his reaches for his taser, as he said, but pulled out a gun and shot the boy. And I was like, ain't this about a bitch? And then they come out and they said that they weren't going to indict Arlen. So again, it's poor blacks versus white, rich, privilege, and men. Okay, that's what it was. And the whole thing about it is, they probably want to indict him, but they sure enough indicted Bex, the black cop. Okay, because a white boy got killed. This is a black man at the hands of a black man. But see, this is how you cannot really remove race, because when you look at it like this, the white boy is about to get a little bit of justice. Even if the cop don't get convicted or whatever, he got indicted. Okay? He got indicted. We can't even get an indictment for the man who out his own mouth said that he killed this boy. Okay? And he shouldn't even been there. He shouldn't have been there in the first place. We can't even get an indictment off of that. Okay? It's poor blacks versus the white privilege that, every white person have, no matter what their status. And no matter if you're trailer trash, no matter if you're the poorest of the poor, bitch, you still have a privilege that's above black folks in these people's eyes, okay? And that's what's fucked up. The fucked up part is neither Jesse nor Joey should be dead. They both was unjustly targeted. Okay, they went after for no fucking reason on both parts. And it's real fucked up. And Preston was giving that little speech. Ash took him back in there, and Preston was crying. Can't end like this. Like this. I said, oh, boo, don't melt. Chocolate. Listen, I just felt real sad for him. I felt real bad. I wanted to really wipe his tears away from him. Y'all know. It was just really sad. I said, damn, Preston, don't do this to me. So the governor is giving this interview, and, she states that she's bringing back the education initiative. Arlen Cox will have nothing to do with it, and she doesn't give a shit if she loses the new election, because if she loses, she's going to lose with clean hands. I said, all right, bitch, you're trying to redeem yourself. So, with this whole case, Preston's deputy, well, not his boss, but under his boss, whatever, telling him that you need to go ahead and just wrap this shit up. You did what you could, and we're gonna move on. He was like, we gotta get Platt. He was like, no, wrap it up and bring your ass here. I said, man, I couldn't be in no job like this, because I couldn't just let shit go, all right? And the little Asian girl, she was like, I don't get inspired much anymore, but what you did have inspired me and all that shit, so whatever. He gets a phone call from, or sit down or whatever, saying that the storage key or whatever, they found the storage key. Breland's wife found the storage key or whatever, and they gave it to the Platt. Platt was just there. So Preston called the lawyer and was like, do you have the address? And he was like, well, I mean, you didn't get it from Ash. I gave it to her already. And I was like, no, she didn't tell. Wait a minute. Let me say something. I just missed a phone call from her. So he gets the address, goes to the storage unit. We don't see nothing on the shelves out of the order there. We see this chest, though, that was covered over by this tarp. He opens that chest, go down to the bottom, finds a recorder, bitch. Breland recorded that whole conversation that he had, that last conversation that we saw he had with implicating Platt up in all this bullshit, all right? Platt bring his ass up in there, pointing the gun, saying, give me that recorder. This is all inadmissible evidence because you illegal search and seizure and all this stuff. And, Preston was like, you was once probably a good cop. What the fuck happened? And all this shit. You're going to go to jail. Okay? He was like, bitch, this my family because it's the only family that I got left. I said, that's sad. And you should look at yourself and understand and see why that is happening. All right? Okay, that's pretty fucked up. And he was about to do something to Preston, but Ash came in like a thief in a knife and said, bitch, no the fuck you won't. See, Ash was gonna get in the goddamn search warrant, okay? She was trying to do shit the legal way so that she could get a baby, bitch. And then she was like, put that shit down, okay? You're under the fucking arrest. Preston looked so fucking, relieved and scared at the same time. This motherfucker was about to kill me. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. So Preston and Ash go back to the place where they first had their first dance at, and they talking about the charges that's gonna be brought up against Platt. He finally said what his part was in speaking about a whole bunch of stuff, and the falsifying records, covering up you know the murder of Joey Campbell, and then he refused to talk about him killing Breland, okay, without a deal being in place. But then Preston went on ahead and asked Ash. She was like, "You thought I killed him? You thought I was the one that came over there and did that shit to Breland?" He said, "Yeah, I mean, at one point, because I know you're trying to do good, but you would do anything for your daughter and all this stuff, and you are good." And she was like, "I'm gonna miss you," and all that shit. And we do see her at the end with her daughter, with a visitation, supervised visit with her daughter. Um, Pastor Janae is speaking at the church, and she was saying how both these men were guilty of the same crime, but only one was convicted. And the way that we need to change this is to get more people, our people, on the jury, which means people have to register to vote. And one guy was like, "I register if you running for something." She was like, "I don't like to be put on the spot like that." But we saw Sarah, who was the governor's ex assistant. She's out there finna help them. Alicia is still there. Her and Shamika still friends. And then Officer Brooks came over there, and at first they was like, but then they warned that to him, because he was like, "I feel like we need to get to know each other, okay? You need to get to know me, and I need to get to know y'all, because I love this city and everything." I said, that's all that we be asking, all right? If we knew the people in our community, this shit wouldn't be happening most of the time, all right? Then we see at the end that Joey was trying to go to NC, okay? University, same university that Jesse went to. And at one point, he was on a little college tour at that university on the campus, and him and Jesse bumped shoulders, and they had a little brief interaction. And see, they could have wound up being friends. We just never would have known, okay? I'm just gonna put it out here. I'm sad to see that this show is gone and it's over and done with, but I am very, very appreciative to the fact that y'all brought this to the light. This was a powerful show, and y'all did a really good job. So y'all tell me how y'all felt about this, and I will see you guys later. Oh yeah, Preston went up there to Arlen and said, "Bitch, here's a list of all the civil rights violations that you done did with the prisons and all that shit. And bitch, I'm not gonna stop until you get what you deserve," and walk the fuck out. I said, had that man shook in his baby. Peace.